Hello everyone, good morning, welcome back to Gwent the Witcher card game. My name is Rooster and this is the deck I've been using for the past few days. It is a Radovid Northern Realms deck, and if you are playing Gwent yourself, then you may be familiar with the concept of a Radovid deck. It is one of the more prevalent decks on the new ladder. But I do think, first of all, this is kind of my own spin on the deck, just because I haven't crafted a single card yet. So I'm just going with whatever I've opened, which is quite a lot as of late. So I'm definitely not dissatisfied with what I have, but we're still rolling with whatever we get and saving the crafting for later. I am reasonably satisfied with how this is working out. It is a very heavy, a very minion-heavy Radovid deck, since the usual Radovid deck you encounter on the ladder just runs a bunch of removal spells. And for that we only really have the trebuchets over here, plus the Triss, who has been a mainstay in pretty much every one of my deck, and has been overperforming. So really satisfied with this card, as well as, of course, the Bork or Villain Threatenmeth, which is called right now, which also counts as removal, and I guess Geralt Igni and sometimes Cadwini Sergeant. But let's not dwell on that for too long. The idea is to get some efficient minions out using Reaver Hunters. And Redanian elites do a little bit of board control. If your opponent removes one of your minions, you just medic them back right away. And in this way, you have a really strong turn one, a really strong round one, I should say. And with the minions you've built up and the card advantage you're building up that way, you try to eke out a win in round 2 or round 3. And that's basically the gist of it. So let's go and head into ranked mode. I don't mind playing this deck in casual mode, since it's not one of the cheesier Radovid decks that just aims to play Bork over and over and over again, or even a Bloody Baron, which I don't have yet. Would be a good fit for this deck probably, but so far it's been working nicely, so I see no reason to really tinker with it too much. Would definitely recommend trying to fit in, for example, a Priscilla, for example, a Bloody Baron, as mentioned, a Shani. That's the 3 main cards, I think. Decoy, of course, would work, but for now, this deck has been treating me really well in the past few weeks. No, I shouldn't say weeks, but for the past few days, it's been treating me well, so... Let's see what we're up against here. For mulligans, you always want to mulligan away secondary Reaver Hunters first of all, because they are really weak top decks later. If we have a reinforcement, then we want to mulligan away all but one Redanian elite. For now, we don't have a way to generate extra Redanians, so in that case we are throwing away... We're not fighting against an R. So if our opponent would be Northern Realms, we would keep the Cadwini Sergeant, because it's quite strong there. This will function as our 3rd Redanian elite, so that's nice. And I think I'll take a little bit of a risk by mulligan away the Trebuchet here. Basically aiming to get... Reinforce isn't actually that great right now, because we have 2 Redanians here, but it will do. Against Scoia'Tael, it is the main faction that I actually like starting with Redanian elites instead of Reaver Hunter, mostly because of the archers. And in this case, I'm actually kind of scared of this trap over here. So I might want to hesitate before playing an additional elite. I don't mind just letting this guy die, especially since we have a Neneke to specifically revive Redanian. So let's go for the Reaver Hunter now and just see if she wants the archer. Against any other faction, I would play these cards in another order, basically. Are we scared for the safety of our Redanians? Yes, we kind of are. Not much to be done about that, unfortunately. I'm thinking of just playing Geralt here and seeing whether our Reaver Hunter triggers the trap. Would be kind of a shame, but at least we can revive one of the Reaver Hunters and then Yeah, that's probably okay. So let's go with Geralt here and see if we are given the first round by our opponent. And if not, I guess we'll see.
Strength, my love.
Scorches the Redanian. In that case, I don't mind playing a second Redanian, I guess. Yeah, that's basically the trap you're scared of. And this also kind of messes with our field medics, so that's a little messed up. Do we just wish to pass here? That wouldn't be the worst idea, I guess. Would force our opponent to play, I think, 2 more cards. I actually don't hate it. It's very unlikely she'll be able to grab the win using just 1 card, and I would actually be okay with that. I don't mind pulling a few extra cards out of her, but I think passing here is fine. As long as you can trade a loss for a 2-card advantage, I think you can be reasonably satisfied. This lacerate isn't looking terribly exciting, so that's good. And another card would mean she still needs to get a 7-point, or actually an 8-point advantage using that last card. I guess that works. Well, actually, it kind of doesn't. I guess playing Milva and not giving your opponent a card is pretty good after all. Yeah, that's not unreasonable. Alright, so that looks like an ambush. Playing ambush on her own lane and then passing. That would probably be one that returns to her hand, or actually one that is not worth anything. So probably a fireball trap in that case. Did we see what kind of trap that was? That was another trapper. Alright. That's fine. That is actually fine. So, our opponent takes the first turn here, and we are now 2 cards ahead, so that's nice. This might be a fireball trap. This is a really interesting deck to play against. Let's see. We definitely don't want to play a weak minion here, if that is a fireball trap, and we do want to check for that. So, let's throw out the Redanian here.
Long live the king!
Exactly. Could be another fireball trap. That would be a little awkward, I will admit. Do we have anything to play around that, though? And in that case, we may just have to throw one to the wolves. Could also just be not a fireball trap. I don't like throwing any of these out. Could go with Stennis, but I'm not sure whether we are able to actually recoup this round. We could go with a first light and see what we get with it. I don't mind that too much. Let's go with a rally here. Expecting the unit that comes out to die to a fireball trap indeed, but that should be... Oh, there's one more fireball trap in the deck, but that is okay. Vanguard here. Alright, that is actually a really strong card right now. A 6 spawning a 3, that's really strong. So what are we going with? We could spawn another Redanian, or we could try a field medic and see what we get with it. Oh, that's really nice. There should be one more Redanian in our deck, right? There is. Alright. So we can use the Reaver Scout to find the final elite, and that should get us a nice...
I never miss.
A nice strength boost, I would say. It is still an 8 strength, 12 strength, plus the Reaver Scout itself is a 15 strength boost. So still really good, we should make use of that while we still can. There we go, and then that brings us into a lead with a 2-card advantage. That's really nice.
There will be no negotiation.
Alright. That was basically just a 3, so that's really weak. She didn't have anything to shoot. Wouldn't it be better? I guess adding a 3 to your own board is better than removing a 3 from your opponent's, right? Anything we want to play here? How are our Reaver Hunters doing? We have all 3 Reaver Hunters out of our deck, that's really nice. We could go for Stennis here, because I kind of really don't want to play anything right now. for fear of overcommitting. But Stennis also just lets our opponent pass and forces us to play another card. So I guess this is actually fine, and let's go damage this one, I think. Might let her return it to hand again, and that's exactly what she's gonna do. This really weakens her board though, so that opens the board for Stennis. Do I have anything to do with a Reaver Scout right now? We can actually do a medic, which is not awful, but I'll go for the blind card here, and that is probably better.
I was
I'm
hoping
not entirely sure. Oh, that is a pretty imposing board all of a sudden. Alright, we do have weather, so that is pretty nice. We can frost for a total of 12, 12 minus 2, so frost deals 10 damage. And that is probably the best option we have, but we could trebuchet, and yeah, I think I like the trebuchet a little better. That still leaves frost as an option, so let's not damage the melee row here. Let's actually kill the archer, because that reduces the effect of a Hawker healer, and then damage Halloran a little bit. Kind of signals we don't have Scorch, but that's probably okay. If we had Scorch, we would have damaged Stennis, right? So, what's coming up here? If that is, what's her name? Then that would be worth 6 plus 6 equals 12. So we have to amass a little bit more of a lead before we pass. Could be a counterspell. Did she return anything to hand that we should be knowing about? I don't think so. So we could go with the Aromancy here. Aromancy for Frost, or... yeah, I think I like that plan. Let's go for Frost and see that is not a counterspell. Okay, so I'm expecting this to be a Teruvial, which is worth 12 strength right now. Igni does nothing. 12 strength means we do need to commit something to the board right now. Could go for Nenneke, could go for Borg. Next turn doesn't really do too much, so let's commit the Borg. And that should give us enough of a lead that we shouldn't need to worry about anything for next round. Alright, I'm okay with this. Opponent passes, we pass. Teruvial flips at 12, we accounted for that one. And starting the final round, 2 cards up, makes me feel pretty good about this game. Alright. Do we resurrect something? Opponent goes first. I guess it doesn't really matter right now.
There'll be nothing to pick up when I'm done with you.
Goes for Yennefer plus Unicorn, so we can just win with a Reaver Scout, can't we? Just Radovid, Yennefer. And Reaver Scout nothing. Alright, and that is game. I am actually pretty satisfied with how we played around traps in that game. I have I haven't played against Trapper Scoia'Tael a whole lot, but that was pretty darn satisfying, and I'm actually a little proud of myself right now. So let me indulge in that for a little bit while we get wrecked by our next opponent. Why don't we? New XP system, really nice. New daily reward system, which is even just a tad bit more generous than it used to be. And of course a new ranking system, which is really sweet. Hey, does this shift downwards? I thought this was a lot higher before. Anyway, we're making progress, so that is really good. Almost out of the wood leaks. But competition is really stiff at the moment, because ranked has only been out for like 1 day. Approximately 1 day now. Oh, I lie. It's been out for 2 days. Approximately 2 days. And there's about 3,000. No, I lie. I don't really know the numbers, but I have been top 1,000 just barely at the end of the first day, and then I think I started somewhere below top 2,000. when I started today, so there's definitely room to grow, but competition at these ranks is still pretty killer. Let's throw away a Reaver Scout. Actually, I like the Reaver Scouts with a bit of a flexible hand, so let's keep double Reaver Scout plus Redanian Elite. Throw away that one. Double Medic is nice. We're not playing against monsters, right? Can I please press tab to... Yes, we're playing against monsters, so I actually want to keep the weather. And I don't care too much about the Trebuchet, I guess. That's a Reaver Hunter, that's nice. I think I'm keeping this hand. I'm a little scared about drawing more Reaver Hunters, which would really suck. So let's be a little prudent in that. And what do we open with? Against heavy weather, I can expect an early fog, so the Reaver Hunters won't be worth much, except that I do have a first light, so we can actually force something out. I don't hate opening with a Reaver Hunter. If he wants the fog, then that's kind of okay with me. This also has the advantage of getting the remainder of the Reaver Hunters out of our deck, which removes two really weak cards, and we can reasonably expect to draw at least one over the course of the game, I think. Since we do filter our deck a lot and draw a non-negligible amount of cards. So yeah, I think I like that. Going with the Redanian. Let's just split up the threats and see how our opponent responds here. Common play would be to just Ulzar's Thunder the Redanian here, and common response for that would be to immediately Field Medic it back again. Water Hag is fine. Means I'm not going for the Reaver Hunter into Redanian this turn. I'm actually curious as to what to play right now. Passing doesn't seem like a decent option, because he can easily just fog us and take the round. I would like to play a gold unit here. Could kill the Water Hag with Triss, but I actually don't mind my opponent getting a Water Hag for next round. So let's play Geralt.
Damn it.
And yeah, I'm okay with this. Just committing a little bit onto the board, making it hard for our opponent to catch up, and if he doesn't fog this turn, then I'm actually kind of okay with it. Scorching our Reaver Hunters, that's okay. He does not have any easy 10-cost cards to play right here, except for maybe Caranthir or Woodland Spirit, which would be pretty good regardless, leaves him with a rather poor minion for next turn. And a one-card advantage. I think I'm okay with that risk. We could, however, go with a Field Medic, and I kind of like that idea. Let's try and get that last Reaver Hunter out, and see if we can make our opponent commit some more to the board. Can expect a fog to show up sometime soon. Reaver Hunter on a one-turn cooldown, so that's really nice. That means if we pass now and our opponent wants to catch up to us, that he also has to deal with the extra Reaver Hunter coming up. So I think I like this. Even with a fog, he gets to add 9 to his board and remove 3 from ours, so a fog would be enough to take the round here. But that does take a fog out of the rotation for him, so I guess that's kind of okay, even though we're, of course, not entirely happy with the situation. Actually, we do get to add a Reaver Hunter if he fogs. This is actually kind of complicated. If he fogs here, he gets to add 9. He sets ours to 1. This is really confusing. But then my Reaver Hunter comes in, gets set to 1, but also buffs the other one by 1 point. So I think he would have made it if he just fogged last turn, but he neglected to do so. And I can't fault him for that, but I think he should have taken the risk. Let's go Redanian again. Decks like that usually don't run double rain, so I feel reasonably confident in doing this. He's taking the risk of us having reinforcement here, but that's also a reasonable risk to take, I think. Let's go grab another Redanian from our... Oh. Of course, that one is in our graveyard, and I just made a terrible mistake. That is great, that is great. I was really thinking I could just grab the extra Redanian from our deck, but we just top-decked 2 Redanians instead. That's a big mistake, actually. Because we can't reliably grab one from the graveyard. We may just have to concede this round. Let's assume we have to concede this round and play like that. Do we want to risk... did we play all of our Reaver Hunters? We did not, so actually resurrecting a Reaver Hunter here isn't terrible. So let's go with Field Medic, see what we get. We basically force him to rain here, and even then, if he would rain, he already used the Scorch, so these are pretty safe. This is pretty much the optimal scenario, but I would have been fine with the Reaver Hunter just because it would pull the last Reaver Hunter out of our deck again. So he rains, and that is fine. We can still play... Well, I don't love it, but we can still play the Redanian as a 6+1, 7 strength unit, which is not awful. And we do still have the Clear Skies as a decent option. He used this as a rain, so he definitely doesn't have a rain card in hand. I think I actually want to commit a little bit more to this board. Let's go with another Field Medic. I like that idea. This gives us a Reaver Hunter, gives him more incentive to Fog. I'm really waiting for that Fog, because I would like to clear the rain and the Fog at once. You really have to get some value out of your Clear Skies when fighting against Dagon. Dagon? Dagon or Dagon? I don't know. Also, it's really curious. He added 2 Foglets to his deck and then didn't play a Fog in the same turn. That's really risky. He might just be putting us onto having a First Light in hand, actually. But we're winning right now. We could just pass, but that seems really weak. I kind of like forcing him to play his hand at this point. So I think we'll play Triss and just shoot the Necker Warrior.
I sense strong magic.
We could actually shoot one of these guys, and that might be better. But if he Thunderbolts Potion this, we can shoot all of them with Igni. And that's the main reason I would be shooting one of them. So yeah, I'm actually okay with this. Because we can still Igni if he buffs this. He still does not have enough. This is a situation in which I would like to pass and not play anything, but that's not an option, I'm afraid. We could just go with the Redanian, and then if we Clear Skies afterwards, then we do still reset them to 6, so that might still be valuable. I think that's okay. Because saving the Redanian for next turn is going to be really weak regardless, so I'm just curious what he has right now. There's gotta be a Fog in there. Fog removes 7, 7 and 5 and 4. That means remove 16 from our board, and now we get to weather him. Then if he has another weather, then that's good for him, I guess. Not much we can do about that. We can actually Igni him here. If we Igni, then we get 8. We get a 22-point swing. That would still be enough, surprisingly. Do we really want to go for the win right now? Well, we don't have a lot of options for next turn, so I guess we kind of shoot. If we Igni first and then weather? He could have Art, though. If he has Art, then that's really sucky for us. So I guess we actually clear weather. So the new card, Geralt Art, would really wreck us here, I think. And therefore we really needed that Clear Skies, yes. Alright, so he needs another weather. At the very least a Fog, I think. Giving him all of his Fogless back and then clearing our ranged row for 10 strength. 10 strength. And that would bring him back into the driver's seat, but then we can still... Can we actually Igni his melee row? Well, we certainly can now, and that should be the final nail for this game, I think. I don't think there's a way for him to catch up, except for maybe Ragnarok. Even Ragnarok doesn't do it. So, that was a rightful forfeit, but good game, sir. Alright. Let's give it at the very least one more game. And level up for an incredible reward of... Let's see... Does this include level up rewards? Yeah, exactly. So the early level up rewards, I guess they're nice for new players, but for higher levels, you really don't need another adrenaline rush. I do appreciate the gesture, and on higher levels, I've heard on level 18 you actually get a Siri, which is really nice, and on level 20 you get a decoy. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. Those are two cards that I have not opened. And was at numerous points about to craft, but didn't bite the bullet, and I'm pretty happy I made that decision now. So in 4 more levels we have a Siri, in 6 more levels a decoy, and that's really good news for new players also, because that might be 2 of the most important cards to get for new players. It can be really expensive too, so that's really good. Again, I like how we played around our opponent's weather there in that game.
We've hammered enough.
And that's one of the charms for Gwent, I think. Because you have all these options in your hand right at the start. You can really formulate a plan for the future rounds. Alright, so we're up against Scoia'Tael again. We do not have a way to get 3 Redanians out. I don't really need the Sergeant, so let's go for that one first. I can definitely mulligan away 1 Trebuchet. And now I would like to draw either a Reaver Scout or a Redanian at this point, and I think we can lose the final Trebuchet for that one. I think I'm okay with that. We did draw a Scout, so we can start out with Redanian and see how that goes for us. I think I like that plan. Again, it's a little scary starting with Reaver Hunter against... Actually, we do have 2 Field Medics, so I could be fine with that. Starting out with Operator, that is an interesting tactic, sir. Gives us a Barclay Elves. Alright, so he has 2 Barclays in hand. That means we're fighting Dwarves, and that might be one of the more troubling matchups for us. However, we do have Bork and Igni on hand, so that might be pretty good for us. At least he's telegraphed heavily what he's into. That makes me doubt his inclusion of archers in his deck, so I'm actually fine starting with a Reaver Hunter now. Because the main thing you're afraid of is archers. 2 strength, dealing 5 damage to one of my minions. I'm not really expecting him to have those in his deck, so I'm fine with starting with a Hunter and then going into a Redanian here. We can go reasonably heavy on the first round, because dwarves need to get their advantage from long-term value. So we can probably beat him quite easily in the first round, but he does want to commit a number of cards in that first round. So I think I'm actually okay with going quite hard here. Did play his Barclay Elves, but if he scorches our elites, he also kills his own operator, so that's rather nice, which makes me less hesitant to go with a Reaver Scout. We basically made our bet, let's lie.
One of us or not.
Go with the Redanian, and let's see what our opponent does here. Let me take a quick sip of my drink here. What is with the left card in his hand here? Is that the Operator's card, or no? Just a visual bug, I guess. So buffed up the Defender. That is a little bit troublesome for us, but as long as we can, at the very least, grab the first round, I think we're actually okay. And this puts our opponent in a bit of a rough spot. He can't possibly win this first round within 2 cards, I think. Because next round our 3rd Reaver Hunter shows up. So that adds another 8 to our board. I'm expecting him to have to spend 2 additional cards here. So do I wish to pass, though? I could actually play Igni and kill his defender. That seems like a good use of an Igni here. I don't know whether I can get better value out of it later, but... yeah, I'm actually okay with that. Let's punish him a little bit more.
Let's get this over with.
It's also very scorchable, so he wasn't playing around Scorch anyway.
Let's get this over with.
Oh, that is an Igni right back at me. Well, I guess I deserved that. But we are still in the driver's seat here. I don't think he can catch up to us within 1 card, so we would still be 2 cards ahead. If he plays 2 cards, then we're actually 3 cards ahead. Which is kind of okay with me, to be honest. Does my Barclay Elves only buffs my dwarves? Alright. Well, that's kind of a useless card then. I'm fine with passing here. Sure. I don't think he can catch up to us within 1 card, and even if he does, we are 2 cards ahead for the price of losing 1 game. Which is fine. Absolutely fine. And we might even be 3 cards ahead if he doesn't give us this game, so he definitely has to. So we're 1 card up, and 1 game up. And our dwarf opponent did not start the round with any dwarves in play, so that's really good for us. We're looking good here. I'm feeling pretty confident. Let's see what we start out with. We could just pass and get another card for free, which is not horrible. However, he could just play a dwarf and still get that same dwarf for the next round. So we could just try and win this round. That's a little risky. There's still a lot of cards in that hand, and we have basically no idea what we're dealing with yet. So could go for Geralt and expect our opponent to have to play 2 cards up against that one. Still getting a reasonable advantage. I think I'm okay with that.
Let's get this over with.
You might be tempted to save Geralt for playing him with Philanthropemerth, but
Any last words?
I'm actually kind of okay here. He has to play another card, has his own Geralt, but still has to play another card to win this round. Could play a Barclay Elves, but that's a little weak. He can beat that with 1 card, and then we lose our card advantage again. So if we're not aiming to win this round, then I'm actually fine passing and seeing what we do for the next one. He has to play 1 card, that means he's another card down. He wins the round, but he can force us to start the next one, so that's not horrible. Not horrible for his position. We are still 1 card up, so we definitely have the last play, unless he has a decoy or something similar, of course. That's always something to keep in mind. So we have 4 resurrect abilities, that's pretty good. We do get to start for our opponent's faction ability, that's fine. Don't want to revive a random right now at the start, I think. I also don't want to pull a random minion. That means starting out is actually rather rough. Let's go with Barclay Elves first. He knows we have it. It's never going to be better than right now, so this is actually fine. His Barclay Elves is a little bit better than ours, but the main advantage for dwarves is minions that stay from 1 round to the next, which is actually fine with us. What can we revive that we can actually pull from the deck if we happen to revive a Reaver Scout? Basically nothing, right? So I'm thinking of starting with... I could start out with Bork, but I think I'm starting with Rally and seeing what we get. That's not horrible, certainly not the best, because we are only running 1 Sergeant in our deck, so reanimating a Reaver Scout would still do nothing.
Never had your kneecaps.
But we have some stuff on the field right now, so it can't be all that bad. And this Aeromancy is going to save my butt, I feel. That's going to be pretty darn good. Let's see. We don't want to go too high in strength, but looks like we'll be okay
Tell me
for
the
now,
rest.
seeing as the strength our opponent is putting onto the board is already higher than what we have. And that's a good revive. Good revive with the medic, so that's good. There's no way we can pull any trebuchets anymore. That's a little annoying. Let's wait one more card before we drop the Borg, and then we'll be in good shape, I think. If we pull another Redanian with the field medic, then we can Neneke for the last one, which is really nice. And it's actually kind of the reason why Neneke is working better than expected in this deck. Just because you're likely to reanimate, for example, 2 Reaver Hunters at random, and then suddenly the 3rd Reaver Hunter becomes kind of good to reanimate. So in that case, she's a better field medic. I like that. So this playing Rain is going to be pretty good. Let's just go with the Borg now and see if our opponent has a shackle. If he does not have a shackle, then we're in really good shape.
Now we must stick together.
That's a double 13, oh my. That's crushing. If that will be a double 13, then that's disastrous for our opponent. If he can't buff one of the two. He does Shackle Borg, okay, but he still has to kill it, because at the moment it will still kill the double 13s and the 8. What do we do here? We could just go ham on the Siege Row, but we don't necessarily have to. Anything in particular we want to revive here? Not really. We could go for the Reaver Hunter, that's not unreasonable, I think. Brings our ranged row up to 6s. 6s are fine. I'm actually okay
Are
with
you
that.
wounded? Again.
And I don't want to reanimate anything in the siege row, because that's the most likely row we are going to weather in anyway. I'm curious as to what his answer to... Okay, so he lets Borg kill itself. That's justified. We still do have the weather to make the big equalizer, or we can just Radovid and still win anyway, but let's go with the weather. And that's another easy win, I think. Well, easy is relative, of course, but I think we played well. I think our opponent played to the best of his capacity. Good game, sir. Alright. So that will be it for today, I think. As you can see, the deck has been performing rather well. It probably can't quite measure up to the ultimate competitive Radovid decks, but I have been enjoying a lot of success with it, and basically goes to show that with just a Radovid and a Borg and some very basic cards, you can still get a very decent deck going, and I hope I've convinced you of that at the very least. In each case, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be glad to see you again soon.